House to Home, brought to you by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking real estate with our good friends Gina and Liz from RE/MAX Diamond Realty Guam. Ladies, half a day.
Half a day.
And I appreciate both of you wearing black because our topic today is a little bit on the
dark side.
Yeah, kind of like a little bit morbid and everything like that. But hopefully with a silver lining at the end, because we are going to talk about mistakes that real estate investors have made and hopefully how to not fall into those pitfalls if you're just getting into real estate investment. So, Liz, we'll start with you. What is the number one mistake you see people make when they either, let's talk buyer first. When people invest in real estate, what's the number one pitfall they always fall into?
Well, if they're not clear what their overall objective is and they just buy property, we always screen them and ask them, what is your goal? Are you planning on investing and keeping the property for a 5-year period, a 10-year period? And what type of investment are you looking for? Sometimes we find that people purchase and they're not ready to keep it, they usually want to sell quickly. And if you're buying at where the prices are on the high side, by the time you're able to liquidate, if the prices have dropped, your value, you've lost money. And it's backwards. The objective is to buy when the market is down, have it appreciate, and then liquidate at that point. So those are important questions, is how long do you plan to keep your investment? What's the objective? Are you going to occupy, or is it just to get income? And then what is your target in terms of income? Are you looking at rental? Are you targeting military rentals? Is the property suitable if you're looking at a investment with a military dollar value, which is higher than a regular tenant or a Section 8 tenant? So those are questions you want to ask. And if they buy something of a lower end and you're expecting a military tenant, and the house is not suitable for a military tenant, then throws your projections out the window.
Well, I know a lot of people that I know have built houses and then they maybe move to the States and everything and give the houses to their kids when they're old enough. Do you see a lot of people buying brand new property for their children? Say like the parents keep the house that they've always lived in and they buy a new house for their kids, 10, 15 years before they're ready to move in.
Usually they give the kids the older house. And then they buy something newer for themselves, right, Gina?
Yeah. Go fix these leaky pipes, boy.
Yeah, and that's, I don't know if you could look at that anymore as an investment, because what really is your return? You're done. People who do that are doing that just to help their kids out, right? But
which is noble, but maybe not smart from a financial standpoint.
I mean, you're going to get an equity buildup, that's for sure, because if you buy at the right time, which right now it is the right time. But really, the people that are going to benefit are your children. So that would be like one of the don't do this. If you're looking at doing it as an investment, don't buy it for your kids. That would be a don't.
All right. Well, that's a good one. We'll stay with you.
If you're looking at doing it as an investment, turning it over to your children is not the wisest thing to do.
Simple as that.
Yeah, simple.
Okay.
You know what I would do is if I wanted to buy real estate and I was looking at it as an investment, then my goals there are long-term, right? I know I'm going to hold on to it until I'm not around anymore. At that point, it's going to go to the kids eventually, right?
It's a good idea, but it rarely happens in real life. See, everybody, the end of my Big Fat Greek Wedding, that movie, it doesn't end like that. Nice, happy ending, but in real life, it doesn't always work out like that.
Not when you're dealing with practical parents, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Gina, we'll stay with you for this next one. What mistakes do you see sellers tending to make, and how do we avoid those?
What Liz was talking about earlier was, when do you, what are your goals? What do you really hope to accomplish? For me, real estate is, and we run into this all the time where people want to buy a piece of property and they're thinking they could liquidate in 2 or 3 years. Any good investment really should be held onto for a longer period of time.
Because you said when you're ready to liquidate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But in terms of real estate, you should be looking at 5 to 10 years, in my opinion.
At least.
At least. Because unless you paid all cash, most people in this market, and I even tell people, even if you have all cash and you could afford to pay all cash, the reality is if you go to the bank and you borrowed some of it, and let's say you have $100,000, and you took that $100,000, you split it into 2, you could buy 2 pieces of property by leveraging and using bank financing, so that you could, instead of just buying one house for your $100,000, you buy 2 homes. So now you're getting a rate of return on 2 pieces of property instead of just one. And so for me, I'm always thinking long term. I know I'm going to borrow money from the bank to do this investment. That way I could leverage my money better. So that means you're paying to get that money, because no one's going to give you money for free. It doesn't work that way. If you
Another big myth.
That's another big myth. There is no such thing as a free lunch. That is, someone's paying for it. So you go to the bank, you borrow money so that you can invest. You really should plan on holding that property for at least 5 years if you want to make some serious money. Yeah.
All right, so Liz, what's another pitfall that you see in your many years of experience that people have made? You know, they have good intentions, but for whatever reason, it was just a bad decision to make, and they ultimately pay for it.
Well, again, it just depends on what sort of property. If they liquidate too soon, like Gina says, you've got a longer period of time. But if you liquidate after owning it for 2 years, you may not have gained your return on your investment in 2 years. So if you liquidate in 2 years, you basically took on a project, and then you may have lost money, because sometimes it takes a number of years for you to recover. You may have totally renovated, put in new kitchens, new bathrooms, and then by the time you sell it, you've sunk money into a hole. So you want to make sure you evaluate your whole period of time and how much money you're going to put in. We always tell our owners, don't pour money into a hole. Why? If you're going to get so many thousands back by putting in 5,000, then we'll say, okay, that was a wise idea. But if you're pouring money into a hole, it's throwing money. It's defeating the purpose.
Yeah, it's not an investment anymore.
It's not an
Well, lesson
investment.
learned, you want to do your homework and you want to talk to learned professionals like yourselves
Right.
and get the
look
right
at
information.
it like a business. Owning real estate, yes, it's an investment, but it's also like running a business. Do you have the stomach to run a business?
All right, well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My friends, once again, talk to the professionals because they know what they're talking about. Don't base your real estate investment on what Hollywood says. They lied to us. Talk to the people that really know about this. And stay tuned because we are back after this.